All right. Thank you for being here, everybody, for the March 2025 Focus On program. We're focusing on the Haskell Township Library with Library Director Sara Koehn. Sara, thank you for being here. Could we get started by a little brief introduction of yourself and how you ended up at this library and in librarianship?
Sure. My name again is Sara Koehn. I'm the director of the Haskell Township Library out here in Sublette. We're located just between Garden City and Liberal on Highway 83. Um, this is actually my second career. My first career was in human resources for 20 plus years, and then COVID hit, and I was in healthcare. And with COVID and being in healthcare, that makes you kind of look at how your life is and what you really want to do, and are you in the right place? And so some of those questions came up, and by the end of 2020, I was working here as the director. Never thought that would happen, but I knew at some point too, I also wanted to own my own business. So I had my MBA and I was like, I got in, I might as well use it. So I have been here for I've started my fifth year already, and I have really found a passion in doing what I do. And I received my MLS in 2023. So I just dove in and went all out, I guess. I was like, might as well, jump in. So I did
Well,
with
and we're so glad you did. I was joking, I guess, with Sara before we started that how does it feel to be the HR guru for the state of Kansas libraries, because she's being called upon by other regional systems to talk about HR, and I know she presented right after me at KLA conference, so we're really thrilled to have you in library land in Kansas. Thanks for joining us. Um, let's move on, talking a little bit about your city and your community.
So Sublette is, we have our population is just over 1,300. I am a township library, so my legal service area is just over 1,800. Um, and we have a public school, we have a private school here in town. We also have a ton of homeschooling families. So the library is very important to what they do. We also have our Mennonite school that's up north in another township that we also cover people-wise, I guess. And we see a lot of them coming down too. And hopefully we're working on a partnership with them to provide kind of a small bookmobile type thing. So lots of opportunity there. In our picture, one of our big sign that's on the side of the building, there used to not be anything there. And a couple of years ago, I received a couple of different grants to help get that LED sign purchased so that we could have something. We also never had a logo. So that's kind of our new logo sign. We just kind of went all out on that as
That's
well.
great.
So
It looks like it should have been there all along. And
yeah.
logos are really, I think, important in branding and choosing all of those types of things for your organization. Since you went through this process, did you hire that out? How did you guys come up with your logo?
Well, we actually have a graphic arts class at the high school. And so knew the teacher of that department and said, hey, would you be willing to have your class do this for us? And so actually it was one of the seniors in that class. We chose her logo that she drew. And we gave her a $250 scholarship for doing that for us. And that's how we came upon our logo, because we didn't want to spend a ton of money in
Kidding.
finding it. We just kind of threw out some ideas, and that's the one that we chose. So
That's
we have a plaque inside our front door with her name on it stating that she did our logo.
that's great. Um, so we've seen the outside of the facility.
Mhm.
Let's continue to talk a little bit about, let's see, how your library operates as far as the staffing. You mentioned you're a township library, your hours. What can you tell us about it?
We are open 40 and a half hours a week. Um, and I have two full-time staff, and that includes myself. And then I have one part-time, which is 20 hours a week. And then I have three from I call it PRN, but that's from my healthcare side, but kind of as needed staff. So two of those ladies are high school students that work after school and rotate Saturdays. And then I have a stay-at-home mom who used to work for us part-time, but with childcare being the way that it is, she had a surprise baby, and so decided she was going to stay home, but she comes to work with us for us 1 day a week. So, um, but all my staff, these are a little bit older pictures, but I still have all the staff. There's one high school girl down in the parade picture, um, but she still comes to visit every so often. So that's kind of what we do, here, and we make it work. So.
Well, let's look beyond the doors of the library now and talk about the physical space that you all enjoy at your library.
We have about 7,000 square feet in our library. The picture where the stacks are is actually the original part of the building. It used to be an old Baptist church. And then we added on the newer parts in 2012. And so that part houses our children's area, and then our display cases that you see on the left-hand side were also part of the addition as well. And we obviously have June is kind of our famous June the giraffe that we have that the kids love. And then the display cases, we did something new with our summer reading program last year, and we did kind of a hidden treasures. And we changed things around, and they had to find different things, but the kids loved that part and going and finding kind of a Where's Waldo type
Hmm.
theme. But all of those cases, they had to find things, and then they got a piece of candy if they got everything. They found it all.
Nice.
So,
So they're kind of filling out like a worksheet in terms of
yep, they just a little square piece of paper, and we changed it up, like I said, every week, and so they'd come in and find what they could, and then we double checked to make sure that they really found what they did, because we had some kids go through pretty quick. So,
yeah.
and then
Now,
they
do
got.
you all call that passive programming, or are you not a fan of that wording?
No, I mean, yes, it's very passive. Anything that we can do that they just come in and do, and
Yeah,
we don't have to do a whole lot of planning.
sure.
And that was one of them, but it was a very successful program. So we don't use those display cases for a whole lot.
Hmm.
So that was one thing, and the girls had fun putting it all together and then going back in and changing things up. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
something's always changing, something new to see.
Absolutely.
And then this next space we're going to look at, I believe you said was one of the first that you kind of got to address when you started at the library.
Yeah, I mean, whose kitchen is clean? So, I mean, why would we have pictures of a clean kitchen? I mean, really.
It's cool with us. We're all friends here.
Um, but this is actually kind of our newer space. When I started, it was very old and dingy and brown. Um, and the board said, listen, you're going to start, but this is one of your projects. We're gutting this kitchen and redoing it. So you need to go pick out backsplashing countertops, and the cabinets had already been taken care of. You need to find us a gas stove. We also had a space for an electric stove top. So those things all had to be picked out. So I grabbed my mom and said, let's go see what we can find and what would look good. So this was the first project. If you see the floor, you can see the dark floors. I did have wood flooring picked out. When they took the other floor that was on top, the laminate or vinyl off of it, we found original hardwood floors. And so these are just those stained original hardwood floors, which is pretty amazing. But you know, they have their wear and tear to them, which makes them look even better. But we were very lucky with that part. But
How
we
neat.
use this space a lot in our meeting room.
That's awesome. And we were, I was pointing out that it looked like they did a good job of getting everything set up for an accessible space, which I'm sure your
Mhm.
various patrons enjoy, and you have different height counters as well. So it looks like it
Yes.
really works for lots of different people. So
Absolutely.
one other kind of part of your space is maybe your outdoor space. But can you tell us about your story walk?
Our story walk, we actually just recently kind of put a title to it. So it's now the story walk and follow the Santa Fe or the Sunflower Trail, a Haskell Township Library story walk adventure. And we did that because these are homemade story walk storyboards. Our mayor, also known as our maintenance guy here at the library, he made these. And so
Oh,
when we
great.
wanted to do a story walk 3 years ago, this is what he came up with. And since they have really kind of weathered, and we were looking for something that was a little, I don't want to say nicer, but fancier, that withstood the sun, because you could tell there's no trees out in this space, but withstood that the sun and the weather and those types of things. So we were able to receive a seed grant from the state of Kansas for 22,500. And we are actually in the process of currently ordering new storyboards from Lark Signs in Wichita. And so we're very excited about that, and ready to get those out here and
How
get them.
long do your stories stay up on this sunflower trail?
They stay up from 4 to 6 weeks. It's probably closer to 6. And then Anna, who's my head librarian, goes out and she switches those out. We actually make all of our story walk books. And then we do put them in the system so that if there's other libraries with story walks that want to, have access to those, they can. But we go ahead and make those. The QR code, we just want to know who's been on our story walk, and then from those people, we will choose a name, and they get to win the book that was put up that month.
That's great. I'm so glad to see, and you're talking about that other program earlier, but it gives you a way to track these numbers and
Mhm.
see how it's being used. Do you find after your time with your books that you're having a lot of UV damage to the pages, or are you're getting some extra life out of them?
No, not to the pages. It's because it catches. We laminate all of our pages, so we try to protect them. They're pretty well protected. So, and the plexiglass that's over is, I think, what's catching most of the UV from the sun, because they're the ones that's kind of yellowing, and that's why we wanted something that withstood the weather just a little bit
Yeah.
better than what these have. And um, uh, our mayor's it's been hard for me to say we're getting something new, and so he's having a tough time with it, but he understands too.
Well, if he's watching this recording, I think they look great, and it's nice that he was able to provide that as your kind of
Yeah,
stepping stone to getting your story
absolutely.
walk off the ground. Looks like a really nice space. Let's talk about programs and services. You've got a bunch of stuff here that we could easily fill an hour with, but
Sure.
share with us here.
So a lot of these are, or some of these are from our summer reading. The grilling, actually, that is a couple of guys from our Rotary organization here in town, and they have decided to permanently sponsor uh, our kickoff party for summer reading. And so this is what we do. We do hot dogs, and this year we added s'mores with that. It was warmer on the fire, but kids, I mean, they loved doing the s'mores. So And hot dogs are always easy. So we do hot dogs and chips and water, and we usually have over 100 people show up for that day, or for those couple of hours. And then the pavilion that you see in the back, that was actually built in that space for extra programming. And I used our ARPA money that we received in 2021 as part of that. So we actually had a welder here in town who built that from scratch for us. So that's a very key part. He also built the picnic tables. So they don't go anywhere. They don't move. I don't care if you have 70-mile-an-hour winds, they are not going anywhere. So
What a
we love
great
that.
outdoor space.
Absolutely. And then some of our other programming, the swimming pool, that's our end of the year pool, end of summer reading pool party that we have. Always have a great turnout for that. And we have a company called Invenergy, who is doing our wind turbines locally. They sponsored that party. It's a pizza party, so we just order pizza and rent out the swimming pool on an evening, and have everybody who is involved in summer reading come and do that. And then our long table with everybody, that is the other part of our meeting room where our kitchen is. We rent that space out to organizations, nonprofit and for-profit. But this particular program is part of our pajamas, pancakes and pajamas. In another photo, you will see deviant stuffed animals who have had their run of the library the night before. And then their parents will come and pick them up the next morning in their pajamas. And we make pancakes here in the kitchen, as you saw. And they have breakfast. And we do invite the community if they want to come and have breakfast as well. So.
How fun. And I was just going to ask you about the room rental. So what do you charge for that? How does it work?
We do, it's a $150 deposit. And then we usually give that back or tear up their check or whatever they want us to do with that. But it's $50 for nonprofit and $75 for profit organizations. And that's it.
Just for any kind of time block that they want, basically.
Yep.
That's great.
We have a lot of graduation parties, baby showers, birthday parties, anniversary parties we've had in there. We had a company who came in and did some safety training a couple weeks ago. They rented it out for the day. So, and with the kitchen, they can bring in their own food and do what they want in there. So it makes it pretty easy.
Sign me up. How many people can you fit in there
You
legally?
well, I'm not sure legally. We don't even have that sign, but I'm
Gotcha.
guessing you could probably fit. We've had a water meeting in there, and there was standing room only. That's probably the biggest one we've had. I would say 50 to 75 people
Oh,
at a
wow.
time, at least.
Gotcha. Sounds great. Yeah, you were sharing then. I think you were about to, I don't know if you mentioned the bottom right picture yet.
That's one of our again, summer reading programs. My guessing that's probably Dan the Magic Man, or somebody along those lines that come in and they use. That's our classroom that we have. The other big room that we have here in the library, and that's usually where we have all of our summer programs, like Dan, or if they want to go outside, they can go outside too if it's nice enough. But we have a lot of different programming in that room.
Got some great space at this library. Here's those photos that she was talking about. I see some deviant stuffed animals here.
Yeah, this is them being nice and reading a book all together. But of course, you have your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who can't sit still. So yeah, that's.
Do you post then this on social media for them to check in on when
We
they're
do. We do.
overnight?
There were some other pictures of deviants who had dumped over trash cans through the night and messed up the puzzle that we leave out on the table. So yeah, those are all out on our Facebook page.
Groovy. Some more clubs. You said that you just started these ones out?
We do. These are brand new programming that we're trying out. The BYOB club is bring your own book. It's kind of like your discussion after a book club, but it's very informal and we learn about what other people are reading and they tell us what they like about it. So really what that does is that's allowing other people to learn about books they may not know about, or maybe they want to read after, you have told them about it. So it's just an open discussion about books, and we provide snacks and drinks. And we do that up in the meeting room on the last Monday of every month, and that's a noon program. And then our silent book club is something new. That is actually an official club, and they have their own website, and you can become a member, charter member, so to speak. And so what this one is people come in, grab a snack, go find a seat wherever you'd like to read. If you want to sit and eat up in the meeting room, you can read, you can do that, or you can come out here in the library and find one of our comfy chairs, and just read silently for an hour or longer. It's all up to you. So that's kind of another one that we have the last Thursday of every month, is what we try to do for that one. We've had to move it around a little bit, but yeah, so we're pretty excited about these. And really the silent book club, that was selfish of me because I have two active boys that it's hard to sit at home and read. So
Mhm.
this is a way for me to do that.
And so that one's part of a club, and the other one at noon is more open. Or since it's kind of a newer program, or how is participation?
It's really good. And actually both of them are open to whoever wants to come. Um, And so far, we've had about 10 participants each for the two that we've had. It'll continue through summer reading, and we'll see how things go. Um, we had some parents or some people who thought, oh, it sounded like it was just for moms who need to get out of the house. I'm like, well, yes, that too, but anybody can come to the library and read their book. So, you know.
Absolutely. And so the next slide, we have a different audience.
This is our Totally Tots program that we're very excited about. We've had for quite a while, but it's the kids will come in and Anna will read them a book or two, and then they have sensory stations that they can go to. It's similar to what we have had out here called Learn and Play, but that's definitely a more formal program through the Russell Childhood Development Center. But this is just, having kids listen to a story and then just be able to play and do things with marshmallows, with rice, with water, whatever Anna decides, or Emily decides to get crazy with. So when I see the tarps come out, then I know it could be about time those mornings. So and then actually the little one here, his name is Lawson, and my stay-at-home mom, this is her little one. He's not so little anymore. But we also have the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which that's their first book when they sign up. And that's also a very popular program that we're working on finding another sponsor for as well. So, and we cover 4 different libraries we've kind of partnered with. So we cover Dudley Township in Satana, us, Copeland Public Library in Copeland, and then Montezuma Township Library in Montezuma. So we have all of that and all those kids. And we average about 230 to 240 kids that are getting books per month.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, you kind of did a good segue from programming into partnerships. We have a slide to go along with it, but yeah, share more. We've got time here if you can talk about the various partnerships and why you do them. Obviously, there's benefits monetarily at times. Um,
Absolutely. Um, it kind of, when you can find someone to sponsor a program, it helps with your budget. It either, loosens it up a little bit, um, so it's not so tight going forward, or you're able to then have money for something else that you wouldn't necessarily have um, for another time.
Right.
The seed grant was something I had always thought about doing. Besides the storyboards, we also were able to pick up 5 laptops for the library. We are very, very busy on our computers, which are right behind us in that picture, during the summer. And so when adults want to come in and use them, you have to kick the kids off, and that becomes kind of a thing in itself. So we got the laptops really for adults to check out, still stay in house, but they can use those computers and go wherever, a quiet space if they need to. When the kids are here, mainly during the summertime, for the most part, but they will come in handy other times, because we're looking to also do some things with entrepreneurs in the business realm. So, helping a small business get started, those laptops will help as well. So I have been a chamber member since I've been here at the library. So, and I've been on their executive board up until this year. And so they have become a good partner as well. I'm actually on a committee to get a splash pad here in Sublette. So, which will be helpful to us because we want to also add programming around that splash pad. And so just little things like that. Rotary has been a great partner. Other organizations, like I mentioned, Invenergy, they have come to me and said, how can we help you? What can we do for you? And so they have their list. So I'm just waiting to hear what they'd like to do. So you just get the word out, and sponsorships are very important. So
Yeah. I don't think I have any more slides, but we were going to talk about professional organizations, and I'm learning that you're very active in professional organizations just from the little bit that we've talked. So yeah, fill us in. What do you get out of professional organization memberships? Why are they important? Give us the spiel. We got 2 minutes.
well, professional organizations are important, just not only for continuing education, but also for your networking. If you're looking to do, bigger things going forward, not necessarily that I am, but I was saying they help if you end up moving, if you end up wanting to do bigger and better, not necessarily better, but bigger things in your career, those connections always help. So, and also I find it, some of my background might be different than what other people have. So I'm happy to share that if I can. So I'm the new membership chair for KLA. So any emails you're seeing coming from KLA that say KLA membership, they gave me access, which I don't know. They may tell me tomorrow at the council meeting to quit sending so many emails out, but hopefully they're important and everybody reads those. But that is kind of a new member benefit that we're kind of pushing out there for now. I'm also on the Governmental Affairs Committee and Intellectual Freedom Committees for KLA as well. I'm also very involved in the Association for Rural and Small Libraries, or ARSL. I am the lead co-chair for their advocacy committee this year. And so if you think we're busy here in Kansas, you should think of, how it is nationwide and things that are going on. So, which is always good to know, because you can bring those things back and say, listen, guys, we're doing good compared to other states, and these are things we probably need to watch for. I'm also the president for our local SHRM chapter here in Garden City this year. So yeah, I guess I've got my hands in a few different pots.
I guess so. I guess so. Well, what a great end for our short little interview. Thank you so much, Sara Koehn, for being my special guest. It's great job, as the chat will, I'm sure, will echo. So thanks everybody. We'll see you future more KLA type meetings. Appreciate that organization. I think it's all so important right now. We'll see you hopefully in April when we have the program again. See you all later.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.